Everybody, Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Vader 400, and of course the Brown Skin Human, coming back at you in another video. And this time, this is my intro, this is my second intro to my series of Disney Channel sitcom, Disney Channel sitcom reviews, the late 2010s edition, the late 2010s sitcoms. There will be another intro video for the retro Disney Channel sitcoms, but this is the late 2010s right here, the late 2010s sitcoms, particularly Sydney to the Max, Cooper and Cami Ask the World, Gabby Duran and the Incredibles, and Raven's Home. Raven's Home, and I'm thinking about including Bunked, the newest season, the three, seasons 3 and 4 of Bunked, seasons 3 and 4 of Bunked, and the newest Disney Channel sitcom, Just Roll With It. Just Roll With It. These right here, these are remakes. These are webcam remakes of my narration reviews where I go more in depth, talk more in depth about the actors, the actresses, and the sitcoms, the narration reviews, which those will be in the description box below for people who want to see those. Those were just short. Those were just short reviews giving my thoughts on these awesome series. This is me talking about these series after watching multiple episodes and in their seasons in their entirety. So with that being said, let's get started right now. We can do what we want if we put our minds to it. Hey everyone, now it's time for part 2 of my short review on Cooper and Cami Ask the World, which is part of my larger Cooper and Cami Ask the World season and series reviews. So with that being said, let me get started right now. First saw Cooper and Cami Ask the World in of 2000, June of 2020. Pretty much almost nearly 2 years or a year and a half after it premiered, and I think late October of 2018. I saw it in June 2020, and I immediately, just like with Sydney to the Max, the very first new era Disney Channel sitcom I saw, I instantly became a fan of this awesome sitcom. I was surprised by the filming quality, the quality of storytelling, drama, comedy, comedy, and acting in a modern day, late 2010s Disney Channel sitcom, just like with Sydney to the Max. Even though this show was of course set obviously in the late 2010s, it felt retro. It felt old school, like the sitcoms of the 90s and the early to mid 2000s 2000 sitcoms, those days, the glory days of situation comedies. Starting in the late 2010s, we would have terrible garbage comedies like Jesse, Jesse, Shake It Up, Ant Farm, and all of those crappy shows that were on Disney Channel in the early to mid 2010, early to mid 2010s. 2010s, starting in the mid to late 2010s, we would see improvements with shows like Andy Mack, Ravens Home, Andy Mack, and Ravens Home, and this show follows those. The show itself is a cross between, for me, is a cross between Even Stevens, Full and Fuller House, because it features a single parent. It features a single parent, widow, taking care of kids. Except she does it by herself. She doesn't have she doesn't have other people in there. Even though there is Principal Walker who marries into the family at the end of season two. Then of course, what was that other show? So yeah, those two shows, retro to retro early early to late 20 to early to mid 2000s Disney Channel, the Disney Channel sitcoms of the what you call the Thank God It's Funny channel lineup of the mid 2000s. Even though I don't think this show is in the same universe as those, but it's from the same producers. It's from the same producers. It's a live production, and a much much better version of iCarly. In my opinion, this is how you do a sitcoms and shows, live action shows, sitcoms and shows centered around internet. Internet are, in my opinion, are usually terrible because not everyone hangs out on the internet and not everyone watches every single video on the internet. This one did a show about a group of kids running an online channel. This one did it right, while making it make sense of the plot. iCarly and its bizarre arc were absolutely atrocious. iCarly was popular because of the cast and the people involved, and it happened right at the time. But iCarly was terrible, and it was the beginning of the downfall, the continuous downfall of Nickelodeon. And then you have that continues to this day. Nickelodeon is good when they show cartoons, Power Rangers, etc. Power Rangers, etc. And their newer versions of old shows like All That and Are You Afraid of the Dark, and even those, especially All That, are inferior compared to what they used to be. Compared to what they used to be. Um, Compared to what it used to be, but their sitcoms are still atrocious, and it all started with iCarly. These terrible sitcoms, it started with iCarly, and it all started with iCarly. So yeah, but this is a much better version of iCarly. The show stars Dakota Los as the main protagonist, Cooper, rather, the then what's her name? Oh yeah, Olivia Sanavia as one of the main characters, Charlotte, Albert Tisai as Fred, Ruby Rose Turner portrays Cammy, the second title character and the duologist of the show, the secondary protagonist. Um, Paxton Booth portrays Ollie, my opinion, the youngest of the Rather family and the most annoying in the show. Um, he's the most annoying and the most useless. He's tolerable towards the end of season 2, but in the season 2 finales and throughout all of season 1 and early season 2, all this character is annoying, insufferable, useless, and is just there to be the awkward, weird, annoying, gross kid. Then you got Jenna. Then you got Jenna. Then you got Rebecca Metz portraying Jenna rather. In the supporting roles, you got Kevin Kevin Daniels portraying Principal Walker, the who marries into the family at the end of season 2, who dates their mom and marries into the family at the end of season 2, and and Gabriel Izos. I think that Gabriel, I can't remember her last name, but she portrays the character Delaware, the character of Delaware. Then um, then yeah, other characters include the singing, the NPC Glamtronics, Malcolm and Deb, Charlotte singing group that Cooper is also a part of. In the show, I've talked about the cast, and then there's Charlotte has two boyfriends. The first one is Caleb, but I heard he left the show to do Cobra Kai, so they replaced him with Gus Saint Pierre. Gabe Saint Pierre, I think that's his name. Um, I know his first name is Gus, but he portrays the dim-witted but lovable, easygoing Dixon. Dixon, who's much more funnier than the Caleb character, and then yeah, for the first season, Cammy and the group they feud with a female named Minty. They feud with a female character named Minty, Minty, who is the main antagonist of the show. She leaves the show in season 2 to star on All That, to star in the new, to go to Nickelodeon and star in the new All That show, and she's replaced by Cammy's assistant in season 1. And the first episode of season 2, Pam. From now on, Pam becomes the recurring arch nemesis. Other supporting characters include Nev, Fred's Afro-American girlfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend who breaks up with him towards the end of season 2, towards the end of midway during season 2. So yeah, yeah. Other and speaking of girlfriends, um, Cooper's girlfriend for most of season 1 and season 2 is Peyton Bartles. Peyton Bartles, who of course she leaves the show in late in season 2 to star in the crappy new Nickelodeon sitcom Side Hustle as Presley, and another show called Group Chat with Annie. Gonna get to that sitcom in the future. But yeah, so this was Cooper and Cammy Astor. Well, haven't even talked about the plot yet. The plot is about Cooper, um, Cooper and Cammy Rather, the host of an online show called Would You Rather, an online dare show, double dare show called Would You Rather. Would you rather do this? Would you rather do this? Such as in one episode, would you rather do this or would you rather do this dare? They also use and this group is supported by by a group called the Ratherheads and various sponsors, and they call upon these fan-based Ratherheads not only to do dares on the show, but to vote on problems in real life. When it comes to a hard decision, they ask the fans, should I do this, which is usually the right thing, or should I do this, which is what they want to do, or the lesser of two evils. That's how that goes. And they always choose, and usually sometimes they choose something else, but they usually choose, for the most part, they usually choose the right thing. They usually choose the right thing. My characters are Cooper, Fred, Charlotte, Jenna, Principal Walker, Delaware, and Delaware, the Glamtronics, Dixon, and Dixon and Principal, and of course Principal Walker. I enjoy everyone. I enjoy everyone, with my least favorite being the character of Ollie. The character of Ollie. He is the most annoying character in the show. Like I said, his whole purpose there is just to be useless. It's just to be useless, and his whole character is just to be awkward and weird and just to be a prop on their show, on their quote unquote show. And he is at his most annoying in season one, the first half of season two, and the two season finales, where he was completely useless in the two season finales. In the season finales, you have this serious plot going on, and you have the Ollie character just being a comedic, just being a just being a lame, unfunny comic relief and gag character throughout this super serious storyline. Then who else? Who else is in this show? Who else is in this show? Oh yeah, those are the most annoying characters. I love Cami Rather. Cami Rather. As the world dot wiki says Cammy Rather is vastly similar to Sam Pluckett from Sam and Cat, and of course iCarly. I think she's better than Sam, and much more likable than Sam. Sam was just an asshole and a bully for no for no real good reason, for no good real reason. Who was somehow reason is the main character of the show, the main protagonist of one of the main protagonists of iCarly. Sam, Cameron Rather, or Cammy Rather, is is um is raunchy aggressive, is raunchy aggressive, and it stops at nothing to get what she wants, but always cares, but is there and cares, for the most part cares for her family and has her family's back for no matter what, and is always trying to help, and is for the most part is always trying to help. Even though her character can be annoying at times, especially in the Would You Rather Be 13, where she turns 13, and because she turns 13 throughout the rest of the season two, she pretends she acts like an adult, when being 13 is the furthest from being an adult. Come think of it, when I was 13 and 14, I still acted somewhat like a kid and was told by various people to act a certain age. So yeah, yeah. But other than that, an awesome show. I love the Charlotte character. She's like the perfectionist of the group, the quote unquote perfectionist of the group. She's similar to Ren Stevens from Even Stevens, a more likable version of Casey McDonald from Life with Derek, and the live action version of Candace from Phineas and Ferb, Phineas and Ferb, Phineas and Ferb, and the real life actress Olivia Sinedia is a great singer, is a great singer, is a great singer and gorgeous woman in real life. And when she's not singing and acting, works out at the food place, at the needy place. So she was definitely made for the role of Charlotte Rather. In the intro part, I said this was I forgot to mention that not only is this a review, this is a rant, because despite how awesome this show was, this show is in danger of cancellation, or is right now is currently on hiatus and silently silently canceled because due to the COVID-19 and due to the other actors and actresses will be going to other products. It's not sure if there'll ever be a season three, and it seems that they have silently canceled the show last summer of last year, because you don't hear much about it. You don't hear much about this show. However, Wikipedia, International Movie Database, and a bunch of other websites still has this show ongoing, 2018, ongoing, going, and Disney and the producers of this show, who I'm waiting on their word, have yet to say anything about this show right here. Yet to say anything about this show. I think this show is on a definite hiatus. I hope Disney doesn't cancel it, because I don't think Disney would cancel such a popular show. I also don't think Disney would silently cancel a popular show, especially a real good show like this one was right here. This one was right here, and this show returns sometime this year or next year. I'm waiting to definitely waiting until Disney says something. I'm waiting until this summer, and if not this summer, I'm waiting until this fall, and I'm waiting until the producers and Disney says something. Ruby Rose Turner is an actress and a worker on the show. She doesn't decide if a show is canceled or not. So yeah, but I hope they bring this show back. But yeah, this will also be a rant because I hated Disney's horrible treatment of this show. And their other three new shows too. That's Gabby Duran and Sydney to the Max. These are the newest premiering shows. These are the newest premiering shows, and they're barely on yet. We still got crappy reruns of Jesse. We got we got too many reruns of Bunk, but that should have ended. I like Bunked now, the newer seasons, but Bunk should have ended a long time ago. Should have ended a long time ago. And yeah, we got more time slot dating to those shows than these shows right here. Cooper and Cami Ask the World, Sydney to the Max, and Gabby Grandy and Symbols. These were new premiering shows. So yeah, this was my review of Cooper and Cami Ask the World. Ask the World. Get ready for the season review. Season 1 and 2 coming next. Get ready. Hey everybody, this is the second part of my long remake and remake review and overview of the Cooper and Cami sitcom franchise, both seasons. This is season 1, with yeah, the episode that will be playing in the background is one of my favorites from this season. And that's the final episode of this season. Would you rather help or rather of the three-part dance finale. So, with that being said, let's get started right now.
Or would you rather till our 500th? Looking awesome. Thanks.
Yeah,
I've been doing 2 jumping jacks every morning.
yeah, this season right here was a phenomenal start to the Cooper and Cami as the World season. I think to as the World series. It's inferior. I think this season was inferior to season 2, but this was a good start. And this season, in my opinion, had much better episode plots than season 2. But season 1 was still pretty good. When I first saw, I like I said in the review portion, I first saw Cooper and Cami as the World during during the summer of 2020, in June of 2020, season 2. They were already on season 2, and I got to see the rest through reruns, and it was fun seeing where the series started. I like season 2 because the characters and actresses, especially the kid actors and actresses, look better in season 2 and are much older, and of course, since they went through puberty, are much better actors and actresses in season 2. Their characters are also written to be a tad bit more mature in season 2, so that's why season 2 was better. But season 1 was a good start. Um, my favorite episodes from this season, my favorite and best episodes of this season. I like all of the episodes. My favorite and best are first the three-part season finale, the three-part dance finale. Would you rather have dance face? Would you rather just dance? And last but not least, would you rather help or rather, which is playing in the background right now. Then you have the open. Then you have what's the next one? Oh yeah. Then you have the pilot, which not much interesting happens in the pilot, but it's the first episode and it sets up the rest of the episodes. The second episode, would you rather have a hippo? The fourth episode, would you rather have potato pants? The sixth episode, would you rather get lost? And then would you rather be the heart of the hammer? And last but not least, would you rather have a beer? Would you rather have a beer? Followed by every other episode. But these are my favorite and the best, with the three-part dance finale being the best. Um the first episode, like I said, revolved around Cooper wanting to take, I think take Peyton to the dance, but Peyton couldn't go to the dance at first because she failed some big test, and her dad grounded her. Her dad grounded her, and there was also a subplot with him I think with Charlotte with Jenna, their mother wanting to date. Oh my God, wanted since she's a widow mother wanting to date someone else, and then they wanted to keep her from dating Principal Walker. I think I don't remember the plot to this episode very well, but it was pretty good and a great start to the series. Then you have the second episode. We'd rather have a hippo, where Cami is running for student election. Cami is running for student, quote unquote, student election, and she wants against her rival Minty, and her rival Minty blackmails her by revealing that she still loves her hippo stuffed animal hippo, which Cooper accidentally reveals in one of their Would You Rather segments. So Cooper Cooper takes Cooper when Kenny pretends to be grown up and get over Ho Ho. Yes, Ho Ho is her name. Get over Ho Ho. Ho Ho. Cooper donates it. I think he donates it somewhere, and Cammy. Yeah, he donates it somewhere, and Cammy goes to retrieve it. She retrieves several Ho Hos, but it isn't her Ho Hos. And Mindy has the real Ho Ho. Minty has the real Ho Ho and won't give it back unless Cammy does something embarrassing by saying she still loves her Ho Ho in an embarrassing baby voice. So Cammy has a choice between getting rid of Ho Ho forever or getting it back by doing something embarrassing, thus losing to her rival Minty. Her rival Minty. Her rival Minty in a subplot, in a funnier subplot, tells a story of how her mother, Jenna Rather and Charlotte tell Cooper a story of how Charlotte's stuffed animal Miss Fancy Pants was quote unquote stolen by a robber, but it turns out that was a lie. That was a tiny white lie. Charlotte rap I mean Jenna rather cut up and tore the whole hole into several tore the Miss Fancy Pants doll into several pieces, which Charlotte accidentally finds in the yard when she's out doing yard work with Ollie, which leads to several hilarious moments in this episode. Then you have would you rather have potato pants, where Charlotte in her plot wants to join the NPC singing Glamtronics team. Malcolm and Deb want her to join, but the main actor Manny, quote unquote Manny, the main actor the lead singer Manny, who's a jerk, doesn't want her to join, and is just using her to get publicity on the Would You Rather, Cooper and Cami's Would You Rather show, which Cooper and Cami later learn about, and throughout the plot there's also a subplot with them trying to protect Charlotte from singing because they don't think she can sing, but it's actually Jenna Rather who they think is Charlotte at first. Is Jenna Rather, the mother who can't sing. So this was another episode. At the end, Malcolm and Deb stand up to Manny and kick him out the group, and Charlotte joins the group in this episode. Beginning that long story arc, which carries on into season 2. Then episode 6, Would You Rather Get Lost, where Cooper and Cami lose Ollie at the mall. Lose Ollie at the mall after they're tasked with their mother taking Ollie to the mall, keeping an eye on him and buying him new underwear and taking better care of him because they often use Ollie as a stunt in their stunt man in their show. Ollie was annoying in this episode, but there was one funny moment. There was one funny moment at the beginning of the episode where Cooper and Cammy were saying, "Guess what, Ratherheads? We're outside. You know what that means." And then Cammy says, "Yes, that's right. Ollie farted in the house." And then Cooper's like, "We don't call him the fart doctor for nothing." That was just one small hilarious moment moment Fred makes Charlotte and Jenna go several hours without their phones and electronic devices, to which Charlotte and Jenna take it out on Fred by throwing paint on him and tying him up. So sorry about that.
How many pieces have you eaten? What number would make you happy?
Then you have would you rather be another episode I forgot to mention that I enjoyed was would you rather be best friends with the principal, where Cooper where Cooper where Cooper where Cooper where Cooper where Jenna is spending lots of time with Principal Walker, which weirds out the kids, but then Cooper starts getting along with Principal Walker, and this affects his reputation. Affects his reputation at school. Affects his reputation at school. This is another great episode. Then you have Would You Rather Be the Heart of the Hammer, where their mother has to sell an important house. So she's ashamed of her real kids. So she gets actors. She gets actors to play the part of her kids to appear more mature for the clients, and Ollie and Charlotte get back at her. Meanwhile, in the subplot, Fred, Cammy, and Cooper want to convince Donnie Benedito, something like that, the guy who owns the skating rink. They all play and hang out at. Wants to close it down. So yeah. Then you have the Would You Rather Have a Beer, where Charlotte gets a D in German. So she forges it by changing the D, I think, into a B. Yeah, to a B. And the whole plot of this episode is they all have to get straight B's. They all have to get straight B's if they want to go on this big water ride trip, something like that. It was this big special trip. I don't remember what it was, but they all have to get good grades and all B's if they wanted to go. And Charlotte gets a D in German, so Kimmy gives her the idea of turning it into a B. Charlotte reluctantly goes along with it, and then when the mother sees him, the mother demands to meet Charlotte's German teacher, and Cooper poses as the German teacher. Which, yeah, in a subplot, Fred goes to the ice rink, to pose as Ollie's older brother, so a certain kid would stop bothering him. So Fred poses as Cooper rather, which it turns out the sister of the brother that's bullying Ollie brings his sister, who is the character Neb. This is her debut. In this episode is the start of Fred and Neb's relationship. This is the start of Fred and Neb's relationship in this episode, and so and then later but it turns out Jenna knew what was going on the entire time, was wondering how long the kids were going to keep it up. And as such, she grounds each of them and cancels the field trip as part of their punishment. And that's that episode. Then, like I said, you got the dance finale, the best episodes of the series, where Cammy and Delaware try out for the NPC singing Gramtronics team, dance team,
Why are my nostrils so happy?
dance team,
Because I'm making chocolate.
dance team. They try out for the dance team. Throughout the episode, while practicing, Delaware keeps making this weird dance face with her tongue stuck out, and Cammy thinks it will affect her. It will affect her chances of getting on the team.
You like it?
At first, she tries to
But I can't tell what the crunchy part is.
Oh, you
At,
wanna know what the
at first, she tries to hide it from Delaware, tries to hide it from Delaware, but then she just openly tells Delaware what's going on, and Delaware decides to quit the team. But then at the last minute decides to audition on the condition that no matter what happens, they will both get ice cream when it overs. They all practice, and much to everyone's surprise, Delaware and several other girls make it, but Cammy and several other girls don't, and the episode ends there on a cliffhanger. Hanger. In the much more hilarious B plot, Charlotte, Ollie, and Fred have to take Jenna's rather note to deliver it to her office before on Monday. Fred Cooper drops the envelope inside a movie theater. Leaves the envelope inside a movie theater. The usher won't let him go back in. Zach won't let him go back in because he thinks they're trying to sneak back into the theater, but they're not. So then Fred uses his action figure to distract the action figure fake gun to distract Zach, and while they sneak past him, and Zach and then eventually bans them from the theater, from the quote unquote theater. They all later with Charlotte, they all sneak back in. And this leads to one of the funniest moments of the episode. There are a lot of funniest moments in this episode, but one of the funniest moments where Cooper and Fred manage to sneak back into the theater, but their envelope isn't there, and the Zach guy pulls out the envelope. Then he says he appears behind him, says looking for this, and in his hand is a roll of toilet tissue, and then Cooper says, toilet tissue? He says, oh, sorry, I was restocking the bathroom, and then he says, I meant this, and then it's their envelope. That was just one quick, stupid, but hilarious gag that just made me bust out laughing when I saw it. Then, everything, Charlotte does something to the popcorn dispenser, which causes popcorn to fling everyone during the ensuing chaos. They all manage to escape. They up with the envelope and deliver it to the office, resolving their plot. Then the Cammy's plot continues in the next episode. Would you rather just dance? It turns out Cammy, who was in a funk since she got cut from the team, it turns out she wasn't cut because she was a bad dancer, as revealed by Delaware. She was cut because the leader, Tara, didn't think Cammy had enough time for dance and would you rather, so she cut her. So throughout the episode, Cammy tries to prove to Tara that she can do both would you rather and dance. In the B plot, Charlotte is the advisor to an NPC alumnus named Tracy Kruger, portrayed by Sadie Stanley, the main actress from Kim Possible, the main character from Kim Possible live action film. She guest stars in this episode. Cooper wants to use her for his would you rather giant nose stunt. And Charlotte throughout the episode tries to keep Tracy from doing it. Tracy, who's a fan of Would You Rather, actually quote unquote wants to do the what's his name, and Charlotte and Tracy eventually agrees to do it and gets covered in snot. And Charlotte thinks her career is thinks she's failed, but Tracy passes her. Tracy passes her, and before she leaves on her flight, she tells Charlotte that she passes, and that episode ends on a happy note. However, because Cammy had to do both had because Cammy had to do both the Would You Rather. She accidentally missed the important dance competition, and as such, Tara at the end gives her an ultimatum: dance or would you rather? And once again, it ends on another cliff. Oh yeah, and before that, it ends on another cliffhanger with Cammy telling Cooper that she's quitting. Would you rather? Ending on another cliffhanger. Then finally, the season finale. The season finale. Fred is, Cooper is angry at Cammy for quitting Would You Rather and tries to continue the show without her, but they realize they need Cammy on the show, so Cooper decides to retire Would You Rather, but he's convinced by Charlotte to continue going. In a B plot, Charlotte has to babysit Ollie, who won't take a bath or eat vegetables. Another episode where Ollie was annoying, but the end was worth it. Then in Cooper's plot, back in Cammy's plot, um, Cammy's plot, she at first tries to focus on dance. Then she once again decides she can do both Would You Rather and be on the dance team. And Cooper decides to support her by making the outfits, but she accidentally shrinks them. So Cooper, he does something else and saves the day. It turns out the dance team, they win anyway, and Tara allows Cammy to do both Would You Rather and dance, and everything ends on a happy note, and the episode finally ends in one of my favorite parts of the episode, with Ollie being tricked into a water ride race car Would You Rather stunt, but it turns out it's a secret stunt to get him to do his final test, Charlotte's final test, and that was to take a bath, and they all bathed him live on Would You Rather, to the joy of Jenna and to the joy of me. Like I said, Ollie, he's at his most annoying during his season. During this season, in the first half of season 2 and in the 2 season finales, these are the Ollie character at his most annoying. So happy to see him get some form of punishment here in this episode. Yeah, well, this was season 1. Sorry it took so long, but there was just so much to talk about in this season. All right, season 2 is next. Hey everyone, it's time for the second part of my Cooper and Cami Ask the World season 1 and 2 overview. This time we're looking at season 2, which, like I've said in plenty of videos, was a vast improvement over season 1, as it is with most sitcoms. Seasons 2 and the following seasons are usually always better than season 1. In this season, the actresses are much older and much more mature. There's not a lot of overacting like there was in the first seasons. Before I continue, one of the main reasons I'm redoing this video over again is because I accidentally deleted the original recording of this video after I uploaded it to my Facebook fan pages, and before I uploaded it to various other platforms. I was desperate to continue freeing up space on my computer hard drive, because I deleted this before I was finished uploading it everywhere. That's why I'm redoing this right here. Seasons 2 of Cooper and Cami Ask the World, like I said, was way better. The episode in the background will be Would You Rather Crash a Wedding. Since this season is kind of long, I'm only going to talk about a few episodes in great detail. But my favorite episodes were Would You Rather Crash a Wedding, Rip Your Pants, Secret Admirer, Live with Mr. Kramsky, Would You Rather Be Wagoners, the second season finale episode, Would You Rather Move, Would You Rather move Would You Rather Move, Dress Like a Pilgrim, Say Goodbye, the best, funniest, and worst episode and saddest episode of the series, because this episode features the character of Peyton, played by Jaden Bartles, leaving the show because her real life actress Jaden Bartles went to star on Group Chat with Annie and Side Hustle. Then after this episode, Would You Rather Have Your Mom Bust You Out, part of what I like to call the grounded punishment arc, because each episode features a character being grounded, features one or two other members from the Rather family being grounded or punished for a certain task, like being grounded or detention. Like in one episode, in the episode, would you rather have your mom bust you out? Then of course, would you rather be the weakest link, and would you rather be stuck in the middle? Would you rather be stuck in the middle? Followed by the best and worst episode of the series. Would you rather have a snow day? This episode was good on its own, but in my opinion, it was terrible as the season finale of Cooper and Cami Ask the World. It aired out of order because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was produced and supposed to air in early 2020. It aired in late 2020, September of 2020. September of 2020. This plot ruins the awesome storyline and plot of this series I'm going to talk about later in this video. So with that being said, let's get to the episodes right now. Let's start off with the first one that I'm watching in the background right now.
So, if you're feeling sick, head down to
In
Gary's
this episode
Urgent Care.
right here,
But remember,
Cooper.
he's closed Mondays, holidays, and pretty much any day he doesn't like the weather.
Speaking of holidays, lately it seems like anyone can just make one up. There's step in a puddle, rubber duck, even donut on a stick day. I didn't eat breakfast.
In this episode right here, Charlotte's planning a big bassoon palooza event, and Fred, Cooper, and Cami do not want to attend. So Cami comes up with an idea. Cami comes up with the idea to lie about going to a wedding for their sponsor, Larry, for their Would You Rather sponsor, Larry. I think that's his name. Larry to get out of going to the bassoon event because they can't sit through another boring bassoon event, which Fred says was so boring it accidentally ruined his Saturday. I love this episode because it started it all for me with Cooper and Cami Ask the World. This, Would You Rather go to prom, Rip Your Pants, which aired right after this, and of course, Secret Admirer are the first 3 to 4 episodes of Cooper and Cami Ask the World I saw. Then I saw the rest of the series and season 1 through reruns of this show, in the afternoon, and I've been a huge fan ever since. This episode started it all for me. The storyline, the characters were so unique, quirky, and hilarious. And the episode, like I said, the show itself was retro Disney Channel. It was nowadays, but it was retro early to late 2000s Disney Channel. Cammy comes up with a plan in order to prevent Charlotte from busting them. Cammy comes up with a plan to keep the lie going, to literally crash a real wedding for a guy named Benedito. When they accidentally go to the wedding, when they finally arrive at the wedding, Cammy Charlotte actually calls Benedito Larry, and Larry was like, who? And then the real manager of the wedding, the real planner of the wedding says, okay, you guys have to leave because nobody here knows who you are. But then Cooper and them try to keep the lie going by performing a song and fighting over the microphone, to which causes Charlotte to fall and breaks thousands of dollars worth of presents, and this plot ends with Charlotte busting them by saying, you guys tried to lie of getting a wedding. You tried to lie get out of the wedding because you think everything I go to is boring and stupid. To Fred says, she gets it. She gets it. We're off the hook. And Cooper says, well, Charlotte, you don't come to all my hockey games. And Cami says, you don't come to all my dance competitions. But we know you're there in spirit, and we will always be there in spirit with you. And Charlotte says, I would have been okay with you guys not coming. Then Cooper says, okay, now who's lying? And the episode ends on a happy note. Meanwhile, in Ollie's plot, Ollie, this is one of the only episodes where he's actually tolerable in this episode. He's actually tolerable in this series. In Ollie's plot, he has to pass his math assignments and test, and online math assignments and tests, or he'll have to go to summer school and they'll have to forfeit and abandon their trip and cancel their trip to the lake house. So all Jenna, all when Ollie arrives at a hard word problem, word problem, word problem, word problem. Jenna at first tells him Ollie's not trying hard enough, and the teacher would never give Ollie a question that he couldn't do, a math problem he couldn't do or they couldn't do. Meanwhile, when Jenna tries to help him with it, she realizes she can't do it either. She can't do it either, so she tries, but she doesn't want her son to know that her son can't do second grade, can't do second or third grade math, something like that, second or third grade math. So Ollie, of course, Ollie, Jenna has Principal Walker, who is doing Saturday Detention, come over, and they solve the problems, but they don't understand why the answer it is, and they learn they can't even do it either. They can't do it either. They can't do it either. So Principal Walker comes up with a plan to burn the textbooks, to burn the textbooks, and then Ollie busts them by walking in on them, and Jenna rather pretends. He says, "Walker, I can't let you distract me from my son." And Ollie, and then Principal Walker says, "Oh no, I'm out of here. I'll never come between a son again. I will never come between I will never come between a son again." And he leaves, and then Jenna shouts, "Coward!" Meanwhile, back at the plot, Ollie reveals Jenna apologizes and says Charlotte will help you when she gets home. And Ollie says he doesn't need Charlotte. He found an online answer key and tutorial that told him everything he needs. So, and he turned his assignment and passed. So they're all going to the lake house. They're all going to the lake house, and that is how this plot is resolved. That is how this plot is resolved. Meanwhile, that is how this plot is resolved. So, like I said, one of the only times the character Ollie, who's usually one of the more annoying and useless characters in the show, was useful and actually had a story arc in this show, and wasn't just a useless prop and a useless running gag. So then you have Would You Rather Rip Your Pants, one of the best. Would You Rather Rip Your Pants? One of the best and funniest episodes of Cooper and Cami as the world. Rip your pants, man. Rip your pants. In this episode, in this episode right here, this continues the lake house plot from the previous episode, which they earned the right to in the Would You Rather Dress Like a Pilgrim episode. In this episode right here, they all want to go to the lake house. They all want to go to the lake house. When they arrive at the lake house, the beach place, Cooper of course is sad. Cooper of course is sad. He's still in the funk from Peyton leaving, and would you rather say goodbye? Would you rather say goodbye? Say goodbye. Meanwhile, Fred is already talking to a new girl. I can't remember her name. He's already talking to a new girl. Everything is going fine until Fred sits on a nail and rips his pants. He convinces Cooper to give him his pants, and him and Cooper fight over pants by pulling on both halves and ripping all their pants, to which Cooper says, "I can't believe you rip their pants." So they got to sneak across the beach to the lake house in their underwear without anyone seeing them. In Cammy's plot, she meets a guy named Noah, and they both have to use the bathroom, but Noah, who works there, won't budge, and Cammy won't budge, so they do disgusting things like sneezing on each other and eating onions and Hudson eating onions and blowing his breath on Cammy, and Cammy gets distracted, and the Noah character wins. I'm confusing him with another kid another actor that looks just like him from the Sydney to the Max episode, Adventures in Babysitting, which I wonder, was that the same actor? He's uncredited in the International Movie Database page, so I don't know who that is. Well, anyway, continuing in this quote unquote episode. Cammy, Cammy has to rush to use the other bathroom, and she accidentally pushes the cart Cooper and Fred were hiding behind. Meanwhile, in the other plot, in Charlotte, Ollie, and June's plot, they're already at the lake house, and Ollie dirties the place up with an umbrella, with an umbrella, with an umbrella, and Jenna gets some detergent because she has to keep the place clean for her boss, Kitty Smitty. Yes, that's a real person's name. And then Cammy comes, then Charlotte sees her with the detergent. She says, "What is that? Quickie clean? Quickie clean? What is that? Quickie clean?" And then Jenna says, "Do you need medical attention?" And Charlotte says, Do you know the mutant chemicals that is released into our lakes? This is why we have mutant fish with 3 eyeballs." And then Ollie says, "Ooh, that's cool. I want that." And then Charlotte says, "No, you don't." And Ollie says, "I think I do. It's a superpower. It's a superpower." Meanwhile, Jenna says, "I have no time for this," and has to go meet up with Kitty Smitty. And then to which Ollie says, "That can't be a real name." And she tasks him with keeping the lake house clean. Charlotte sweeps real slowly, and into which Ollie criticizes her, saying, "You think you're cleaning up the mess, and if anything, you're adding more to the mess." To which Charlotte comically says, "My my method may take a long time, but it is worth it if it will save. If it is worth it, but if it will save Mother Gaia." Ollie foolishly not understanding that Charlotte is talking about the planet and not their mom, says, Mom's name is Jenna. Comically says, "Mom's name is Jenna." And that was just one funny moment. And then the Cooper's plot is resolved when he realizes that whole ordeal with them ripping their pants, having to sneak across the beach in their underwear, all of that made him get over his funk with Peyton, made him forget about Peyton and get over his funk, and promises to make this the summer of Coop, Fred and Coop, where he buys him and Fred new board shorts and drinks, and they all meet back at the lake house where Kitty Smitty and Ollie scare them, causing Cooper to drop his drink. The only part of this episode I didn't like. We worked so hard for that epic moment, only for Ollie to ruin it with some stupid comedy moment at the end. So yeah, but an awesome episode, and one of the funniest and best episodes of Cooper and Cami Ask the World. Then you have the Secret Admirer episode, one of the best episodes because the A, B, and C plot was great. A, B, and C plot was great, and it was one of the funniest episodes. In this episode, Cooper, in this quote unquote episode right here, Cooper of course, Cooper has his family. Oh yeah, Delaware is struggling to fit in at NPC Day School since she joined in season 1's Would You Rather Have a Luau, and a woman from the yearbook committee doesn't recognize her despite Delaware having 2 classes with her. Meanwhile, Ollie develops a crush on Delaware that day when he learns Delaware's parents work at the carnival rides, and operate on the carnival rides. And unbeknownst to everyone, he tells Cooper about his crush, but no one knows it's Delaware yet. So Cooper, under the hilarious name of Button Nose McStutley, helps Ollie write several letters like "What up, girl? How you doing?" and do some cool moonwalk. To which Ollie thanks him, and Cooper says, "It's no problem for the brothers McStutley." Then Ollie comically says, "Don't make me a part of that. Don't make me a part of that." Then Cooper finds out Ollie's crush is Delaware when Cami and Delaware accidentally read out Delaware's secret admirer, which they learn that Cooper reveals to Cami in the den that Ollie is Delaware's secret admirer, and they come up with a plan to tell her, to which Cami comes up with the idea. Comes up with the idea, of course, Button Nose McGoover, and Cooper says, "Okay, that wasn't even close." But Cami can't bring herself to tell her because it'll crush Delaware. So so they come up with a plan to steal the locks, to retrieve the secret admirer letters from Delaware's locker, and replace them with some other letters. It is here where Delaware ruins the plan by arriving early. And taking the new letters Cooper wrote for her, and Delaware thinks Cooper is cheating on Peyton with her, to which she comically sprays Cooper with some water. Cami pretends to join in, and Ollie sprays Cooper, thinking that Cooper is trying to steal Delaware for himself, to which Ollie comically says, "Betrayed by my own flesh and bone." To which Cooper says, "That's not the expression. And Delaware right here learns that her secret admirer is Ollie. And then she leaves in embarrassment and shame, and that's how that plot. And then Cammy reconciles with her, and the woman from the yearbook earlier finally remembers her. Meanwhile, in Cooper's plot, he reconciles with his brother, and it ends with them going to the rent fair. Meanwhile, in Charlotte and Fred's plot, the C plot, this was even more hilarious. Charlotte is hosting a Renaissance fair with her ex-boyfriend Caleb and several other people. Fred suspects that Caleb is trying to win back Charlotte when Caleb puts on a special cologne, and he's right. So Fred calls his bro Dixon to come down there, and Dixon and Caleb challenges Dixon to a motor horse joust, which is interrupted by Charlotte, who tells Caleb, here, you and I are only going to be, we are done. You and I are only going to be friends. And he says, Dixon, you have nothing to worry about or feel threatened by, unless it's coming from me. Dixon says, I understand, but Caleb was right about us not having anything in common. And Charlotte says, I like that. I like how we have nothing in common. And Dixon says, yeah, peanut butter and jelly have nothing in common, but they make a great combination. And that's how this episode, that's how this plot ends. The episode ends on a hilarious note where Fred, dreaming about winning Lord of the Leg at the fair, where Charlotte announces that he's won in his dream, and he's like, Lord of the Leg, and Jenna says, wake him up, he's getting turkey grease all over my couch, and then Cooper says, oh, but look how happy he is, and that's how that episode is. One of the best and funniest episodes of Cooper and Cami Ask the World. I gotta go back to the Would You Rather Rip Your Pants episode before I get to the next one, Live with Mr. Kramsky. Another reason I like this Would You Rather Rip Your Pants episode is because this episode showed that this could be in the same universe as the Sydney to the Max Bomber Reynolds episode. First off, Cooper and Cami had the better Lake House episode, but Sydney to the Max also had a Lake House episode. And this shows that these two shows could be in the same universe. Another reason why I don't want Disney to cancel this show, and even if they do, I hope the characters, the actors from this show can reprise their role for a future crossover with Sydney to the Max. Even though their show is over. So, yeah.
You ruined enough of this wedding. She's that bad. You can't silence art. Stop, you're making a scene. Oh, I'm making a scene?
So, yeah. Then next episode, Would You Rather Live with Mr. Kramsky, which is almost just as funny as, which was just as good and funny as Would You Rather Have a Secret Admirer. In this episode, Mr. Kramsky's roommate steals his, I think, RV and unicycle, thus Mr. Kramsky and Cami comes with the idea for Mr. Kramsky to crash at their place for rent so Cooper can go on his hockey game. Cooper at first wanted to ask his mom for money, but his mom was so stressed about Ollie's dental and hair bill, so so he couldn't bring himself to ask his mom for money. Then Kimmy's plot, so then he comically comes with the idea to sing in order to raise the money, to comically sing to people to comically raise them, but all he does is annoy and scare people off. He says, "She's pushing Daisy to 4 o'clock. Cooper, 4 o'clock. Cooper Graham," something like that. It was hilariously bad. It's funny because Cooper's portrayed as a bad and at times subpar singer in this show, despite the fact in real life Dakota Lotus is a great singer. So that was what was funny about this episode right here, and this leads to hilarious moments such as Ollie throughout the episode thinking is Mr. Kramsky is his imaginary friend. I mean, Captain Wally, Captain Wally, and Captain Wally, Captain Wally, which leads to various hilarious moments. Then you have Jenna Rather's plot. Then you have Jenna Rather, the most hilarious moment when Jenna Rather, when she's going in the garage, accidentally walks in on Mr. Kramsky, and they both scare each other by continuously screaming, ah, 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 ah. They continuously scream, and then Jenna scolds the kids for what they did. Scolds the kids for what they did. She says, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I know this was uncomfortable," and Jenna calmly replies, "It was uncomfortable for everyone. It was uncomfortable for everyone." Then Cooper says, "We can use this money for good things," but Jenna says, "We could." Oh, this is going back to Mr. Kramsky. And Cooper, you're going on your hockey trip, and reminds Cooper one of the moments I really like Jenna. One of the many moments why I really like Jenna. Proves that she's a great parent. She does everything in her power. She does everything in her power. She says, "Cooper, you're going on your hockey trip. I will find a way to make it work." And that's how that plot ends. That's how that plot ends. Then we get to Charlotte's plot and Fred's plot, which was more hilarious, where Fred reveals to Charlotte that Dixon wants to take her to the prom, wants to ask her to the prom. Charlotte prepares, but everything at first seems to be going well, but Charlotte sits on a farting chair, which makes a fart sound, and everyone in the room thinks she farted. But it turns out, then Dixon just leaves. Throughout the episode, Charlotte keeps repeatedly sitting on a fart chair and thinks Dixon is avoiding her because she farted. But it turns out Dixon was avoiding her, as revealed at the end, because at first he wanted to ask her, but then he wanted to ask her. Then he wanted the moment to be special, so he chickened out twice, and then the third time he finally decided to sing it, and that was asking Charlotte to the prom, and they reconciled. And that's why he was acting weird, not because of the fart thing earlier. But Fred arrives there late, where he criticizes Dixon, and Charlotte comically says, "This all happened at the end, so you can edit this out." And that's how that plot is resolved. And the prom plot continues and concludes in the next episode. Would you rather go to prom? Not going to talk much about this episode. Then not going to talk about this episode, but it was another great episode, and one of the first I saw. Then you have the Would You Rather Say Goodbye episode. This episode right here, not going to talk much about it, but it was one of the worst because it's worse and saddest because it featured Peyton leaving because Jaden Bartles left this show to star in Side Hustle, which I am still mad about that. I'm going to tackle Side Hustle in the future. One of the worst sitcoms I've seen. Then you got in this episode, Peyton is leaving, so Cooper wants to plan a going away party for her, but he has duties to perform at the fireman's ball with Charlotte in the singing electronics. Charlotte, because she has to study or has finals, tries everything in her power to get out of it, including in the beginning. She tries to pretend to have hiccups, to which she says, "Oh, I can't have hiccups." Cooper immediately sees to what she's doing. She says, "I can't believe you're trying to get out of this." Then Deb, the character Deb, says, "Oh, don't worry, Charlotte. I have something for that. I have a flaming bag of I think it's either horse or dog poop that'll clear that right up." And then Charlotte was like, "I'm healed." And then Cooper says, "All right, Charlotte, what's it gonna be? Rehearsal or poop?" Rehearsal or poop. Then Charlotte, she chooses rehearsal by saying, "I'm healed." That was just one funny moment. And even continues with Charlotte locking Deb in the bathroom, but the poop part was hilarious. And then and then and then that's that and then that's how that episode is. That's how that episode is. Then 25. What was 25? Oh yeah. Would you rather be Wagner's? Would you rather be Wagner's? Not gonna talk much about this episode, but an awesome season finale, except for the end where the water pipe broke and Jenna got sprayed. Once again, just like in Would You Rather Rip Your Pants, after an awesome episode where the characters worked hard and deserved the happy ending, they try to pull some kind of stupid comedy moment. Another thing I didn't like, that's one of the only things I don't like about this show. They always try to end on something funny, even after a great episode where the characters worked hard to deserve their happy ending. They try to work on some. They try to have some. They try to end on something funny. They try to end on something funny, and that was the problem I have with this episode. Then you have Would You Rather Move? Would You Rather Move? Where Dick where this is the season, the first real season finale where Principal Walker leaves where Principal Walker gets a new job. It turns out it's in Texas. So throughout the series, throughout the episode, Cammy, Fred, and Cooper come up with a plan to save his job. Charlotte has her own plot where she wants to raise money for the fishes, raise money to clean up the lakes. But she sacrifices her dream to turn attention over to Cammy to lead them in a chant for Principal Walker, and Principal Walker gets his job back, and everything is resolved. Everything is resolved. So at least one thing I do like about season 2, if this is the end of Cooper and Cami as the world, they ended the series on a high note. It ended with Principal Walker proposing to Jenna and will now marry into their family. But I really do hope they pursue season 3. According to Ruby Rose Turner, the show is silently canceled. But according to Wikipedia and International Movie Database, the show is still running. It's on hiatus. Disney and the producers have yet to say anything about the show's cancellation, but it does appear that they canceled the show last year, sometime quietly last year. But I feel Disney Channel would at least say something, and I don't think they would cancel such a popular show. Yeah, the ratings were abysmal, but the ratings for every show is abysmal. No one's really watching television these days, so I think that's a BS reason to cancel it. Then the biggest reason they canceled it is they probably canceled is because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This season was supposed to have 30 something episodes. Instead, it got shortened to 28. It got shortened to quote unquote 28, which 28. Oh, I had a huge problem with this. Would you rather have a snow day? Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they decided to delay the snow day. It was supposed to air in early 2020 and aired as a season finale. So after that awesome season finale with Principal Walker joining the family, we end on some crappy snow day. We end the series on some crappy snow day episode. The episode itself was good, but not as the season finale. The episode itself on its own is okay, but not as the season finale of the series. Therefore, it's the best and worst episode. Episode on its own is good, but as a season finale, is terrible. So that's the problem I had with this series right here. What else about this series? What else? What else about this series? What else? So yeah, um, yeah. But I do hope, and like I said, and if it is canceled, I do hope that they reprise the role, sometime appear in some crossover with City to the Max, because there was one episode called Bummer Reynolds which shows that these two shows could be in the same universe, in the quote unquote same universe. So that's Cooper and Cami ask the world, yeah, you don't want to hear the rest of the music, turn the video off right now.